Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And we know they are really groovy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live edition of Two Guys and a Gal talking about movies. And tonight is a bit of a treat because if you guys are big movie buffs and you love and respect the art of cinema, you are going to love the subject of this evening's show. We are going to be talking about the Coen Brothers. That's right, Joel and Ethan. And every film student has studied multiple ones of their movies. If you are a big fan of the Coen Brothers, you go crazy over them, you go rabid over them. They're known for integrating weird, quirky, eccentric characters and strange plot twists, and they infuse humor and drama and sometimes horror and thriller. They kind of do it all. And when you're watching a Coen Brothers movie, you kind of know you're watching a Coen Brothers movie. All in all, I think they only made 18 movies. So they spend a lot of time on the movies that they do, and the quality is amazing. So to dissect and deconstruct and rank their favorite Coen Brother movies, you have Manny Zamora and Rory Penland. Hello, guys.
I'm director.
Hello, hello.
Thank you. I think it was Manny who chose the Coen Brothers, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So what's
Big fan.
your lead in? What was your interest and exposure to the Coen Brothers?
Well, before I get into that, I want to remind our audience that this program is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for any professional, legal, or medical advice. Just want to get that out there. Anyway, my first exposure to the Coens is I think like a lot of us, it's Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see Blood Simple when it came out in the theaters. I don't know, somehow I missed that one. But then Raising Arizona came out and Nicolas Cage is in it, and I thought, oh, this looks, I saw the trailers for it and I thought, oh, this looks interesting and funny, and of course just fell in love with Cage and Holly Hunter and just and I took note. I was like, okay, who directed this? Okay, these somebody named the Coens. Okay, and so as they started coming out with more movies, it's like, I recognize the names. I'm like, well, I got to go see this movie, and it was really, I shouldn't say surprised, but I thought, wow, every movie, each one of their movies is just unique. It's a universe unto itself. I mean, sometimes they kind of use not even really similar plots, but just kind of similar moods, and and some are comedies and some are not. They use a lot of the same actors as a lot of directors do. John Goodman, John Polito, John Turturro, a lot of men named John. And Holly Hunter, of course, Frances McDormand, who's married to one of the Coens, and you were right, before even Blood Simple, since the '80s, I believe. So yeah, it's been and some I've liked better than others, and therefore we have these these different top five lists. But yeah. And the thing is, their movies are unpredictable, and that's one of the things that I really, really like about them, is that you're never really quite sure where they're leading up to, and some of them, to be honest, lead nowhere. They just kind of end when they say, "Ah, well, we're done with this story." and sometimes it can be a little frustrating. Sometimes it's like, but because we've come to expect as American movie viewers, we kind of we expect an ending. We expect a resolution to the story, and then the credits, and then we go home and eat dinner. Uh, uh, and the Coens don't always give us that. Sometimes they give us a very ambiguous ending, or like I say, they just end the movie at some point and that's it. So that kind of keeps you on your toes. And the stories themselves, sometimes, again, like I said, you simply do not know where the story is leading to. You think you do, and they have ways of just pulling the rug up from under you, of really subverting your expectations. But as Renee said, the other thing about the Coen Brothers movies that I find attractive, and I'm sure you do too, Rory, is the characters. We get
Yes.
these very unique,
They're
very interesting
all-
characters.
They're all character-driven pieces,
Yes,
and he, like you said, they create, I should say, a rhythm, a kind of a way of people talking and interacting with each other in their own little world. Fargo, where everybody, yeah, you know, everybody in
yes,
Raising Arizona, was the way. Well, okay then, and the later the Hudsucker Proxy, and there was another one, Barton Fink, where they're all doing the 1940s kind of, hey, what are you talking about? They're doing that kind of thing, that sounds
right, yeah,
fellow
yeah,
kind of movie kind of thing, where they're all little ding, 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 ding. They've got that cadence going between
exactly,
the characters, and you're like,
yeah,
this is really hysterical. They took
yeah,
the time to make all these characters interact like that.
right,
So that's one
exactly,
of the things I really love about the movies is, like you said, the characters are very rich, and again,
yeah,
they create their own little universe, and I think we get closure in most of their movies, most of the ones I've seen, and I mean, it might not be what we expect. Like you said, they're a bit unpredictable, and again, that's what life is like. It's unpredictable. You never know where it's
right,
going
right.
to take you. Um, and we'll talk more about that later as we talk about the movies.
Okay. Well, Rory, you want to lead us off this time?
Ah,
Give us your number one.
well, number one is Raising Arizona. I was working in a movie theater at the time that came out. I think it was 84.
Mhm.
And I kept sneaking back to that theater to rewatch stuff over and over and over again because it was just hysterically funny to me. And not in the traditional sense, I mean, you've got Randall Tex Cobb, as this terrible bad guy motorcycle guy, and then you've got John Forsythe's son, Robert Forsythe, and um, he's in like a zillion other movies.
Yeah, yeah.
God, Dan from Roseanne.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. John
John
Goodman
Goodman.
is the two
Gail. Yeah,
brothers escape from
yeah,
escape
yeah.
from prison, and they go to see Ha.
Ah, yeah,
And Holly Hunter was a friend of the Coen Boys from their college days, and they wrote that character for her, and she didn't know if she'd be able to pull it off
oh,
at first. But as luck would have it, and history was written, she became a major player in Hollywood because of that
yeah,
movie, and
yeah.
it definitely catapulted Nicolas Cage to A status, I think.
Oh,
He had
yeah,
done some movies before that, but that one I think really did make him at that time.
yeah, yeah,
He's very funny in it, and they're all funny. Trey
yeah.
Wilson is Huff Hines. I'm Nathan, Arizona. You want to buy furniture at a store called Huff Hines?
Come on here.
Oh, now you're gonna bust out. I'm gonna bust out crying. Every line out of his mouth just had me rolling. He's out there. He's got Yodas and shit on his pajamas.
Jammies, jammies. You got Yodas and shit all over. Yep.
So, right down to the littlest character. There's a guy in the bank at the end Well, if I'm on the floor,
Oh, the old guy.
I ain't in motion. Yeah,
Well, what's it going to be, young feller?
hey.
Nobody's moving. It's like, well, you told us to freeze.
So yeah, just a delightful. I can watch that movie over and over and over again, and I still
yeah.
laugh. It never gets old for me. I still love it. It still makes me laugh. And again, that was my initiation. That's what popped my cherry with the Coen Brothers. And
Yeah.
I went back and watched Blood Simple, and it was like, nah, yeah, okay. I see how at the time it would have been a, influential movie, an interesting movie. I mean, they made it on like next to nothing. And again,
Yeah.
Frances McDormand is in just about everything they've done. She's somewhere. She's got a great character in Raising Arizona. It was the mother who wants another little one. Oh my God, he's just a heaven. He's just an angel from heaven. And again, every character is so different for her. It's just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number one.
Okay.
It will always be my number one with them.
Fair enough. All right.
Well.
Well, for me, I get that same feeling for my number one, which is The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Jeff Bridges, John Goodman again, Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore, John Turturro again. A lot of the regular, the usual suspects show up, and it's just a great movie. Jeff Bridges as the dude, Jeff Lebowski, who is mistaken for the Big Lebowski, played by David Huddleston, who's this rich guy, this wealthy man, whose wife, his very young wife, played by Tara Reid, up and disappears, and she's supposedly been kidnapped, and Jeff Bridges is mistaken for him, and somebody comes in and pees on his rug. one of the thugs, and that sets off the whole chain of events. He goes to see the guy and complain. It's like, what do you want me to do about it? Think I'm to blame for everybody who micturates on everybody's rugs? And and then of course he cons and Philip Seymour Hoffman has a small role in this movie as the Big Lebowski's assistant, and it's just one of those movies. It's just a crazy quilt of all these different characters.
Yes.
John Goodman and Steve Buscemi are Jeff Bridges' best friends. They're on this bowling league together, this very loose kind of bowling league, and then you get John Turturro as Jesus, the bowler. Nobody fucks with Jesus. And Julianne Moore is in it. It's just this, and also I think it's one of the last appearances, if not the last appearance, by just a classic old actor. I say old actor, but classic actor Ben Gazzara, who plays Jackie Treehorn, the pornographer who practically owns this little town, and who sets a lot of this plot in motion as well. He has a little cameo in this movie, but anyway, like you said, every character, even the smallest character, and again, you have a lot of the recurring actors. John Polito is another favorite of the Coens to bring in. He has a small role as
man's Danny DeVito.
Basically, yeah, but a little bit more, yeah.
Out of the show. That's my favorite line from John Polito's from Rocketeer. It's all part of the show.
Exactly. Yeah.
But my favorite is Sam Elliott as the narrator.
And Sam Elliott. I almost forgot about Sam Elliott. Yeah. I can't believe I left him out. Yeah, Sam Elliott. Yep. Somewhere there's a guy.
There's the dude. I hated John Goodman in that. That's the one character John Goodman played. I could not stand to watch him.
Walter. He's a little friend of mine. Like,
we all have a Walter, and he's kind of right. There's always one of them out there.
Yeah, yeah. But he's got, yeah, but he's this big-hearted guy. He would do anything for the dude, but he's just so messed up.
Yep.
Whether or not he was in Vietnam or not, we're still the jury's still out on that. He keeps talking about having been in Nam, and all this stuff, and he pulls a gun on some guy because he's questioning whether or not he actually made a strike or not, or all this, and he's always just screwing up throughout the entire movie, even at
Yes.
the very end. And yet, somehow, yeah, we all have our Walter, and we all put up with him because at the end we still love the big lug, even though he's just completely, insane. But it's just, anyway, it's a great movie, a great cast, and I think one of the more accessible of the Coen Brothers movies.
Mm.
So that's that.
A fantastic performance by Jeff Bridges, who is totally different from anything he's ever done.
Yeah.
And again, when you look at Jeff Bridges, he looks like he looks like Lebowski. So he looks like he would be that way in real life.
Yeah.
But again, an incredible ensemble cast is always the case. I'm surprised that I think they only made one other movie with him, right? True Grit.
True Grit. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done more with him, being that, yeah, those two movies are great performances by him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 2 is Fargo.
Okay.
Now, I've recommended this movie to people and had them come back to me furious. They're like, "Oh my God, that movie was terrible." Because the really horrific scene where the woman gets kidnapped by Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, who
yeah,
is one of those character actors. When you see him, immediately you recognize him. He's been in a lot. He's been in a lot of stuff, right down to Prison Break. He was on Prison Break for the first 2 or 3 of his.
Yeah. 2 or 3 seasons. Yeah, the first couple of seasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Stormare, not to interrupt you, but Stormare is also in Big Lebowski. He's one of the nihilists.
Okay.
He's like the head nihilist.
Yeah.
He and Flea from
Flea. He's the one that pees on the rug, right?
No. It's some other guy.
I thought it was Flea.
But he's one of the German nihilists. From Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Right.
Oh, and not only is Flea in this, but Amy Mann is in the movie as well. From Till Tuesday. She plays the girl who gets her toe cut off, and and makes them think that it was Bunny's toe. So anyway, it's a little trivia.
Well, okay then.
Carry on.
That movie, again, great cast. Frances McDormand again as the lead. Oh yeah, they all talk like that. I love the Fargo, the accent. Well, yeah, I guess that's your friend in the wood chipper there. It's got lines like that in it. Yeah. Buscemi is just unbelievable, and he's off the chain. And William H. Macy.
Oh yes.
As Gary Lundergaard. You're gonna want that True Coat. It's just slime. He is just slime, and he's wonderful. Just to watch him. And again, when he gets his comeuppance at the end, you just love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember who plays the father. Another great character actor.
Oh yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff.
I didn't put him in. Of course, I didn't put him in my notes.
But they take Gary's idea. And well, wait a minute. No, that's mine. I'm supposed to get my percentage. We're gonna pay you for it.
Yeah.
And that's when it all goes southward.
Yeah.
That is just a very intricate story and a bunch of really interesting characters.
right down to the husband, and her old high school mate who
That
tries
was a
to
very,
seduce her.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That was an interesting scene. It's kind of sort of out of left field.
so, but again, Buscemi and Stormare and William H. Macy, all the bad people in the movie are just make it so interesting.
Hmm.
And they kind of balance that with how normal, McDormand and her husband and the other people are in the film.
Hmm.
So, in any case,
Exactly.
just a wonderful, wonderful movie. I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of those movies I can watch over and over again, and it doesn't get tired.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah.
As is my next one.
All right. So my number 2 is "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
That's my number 3.
Uh, this is one of those movies that proved that George Clooney was an actor and a damn good actor.
Hmm.
I mean, we saw him on ER, and everybody, was like, "Oh yeah, he's pretty the good looking guy."
Mhm.
But we weren't really sure. Then he did some action movie with, I think, Nicole Kidman. And it's like, okay,
Well,
he does action good, but then he
his
does
breakout
this
film
movie,
was actually Dust to Dawn.
Dust Till Dawn. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, with
and
the yeah,
yeah, that proved that he had the
yeah,
dramatic chops,
the dramatic chops, right? But this one showed his comedic chops, I
yes,
think. Uh,
murder.
exactly. Every time, my hair.
I'm a dapper Dan.
I'm a dapper Dan man. Uh, well, this place is a geographical audience from 2 hours from everywhere, or 2 days from everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, and again, a lot of the same people start showing up. You got Holly Hunter, you got
Yeah,
John Turturro. Well, there's the three main leads: George Clooney, John Turturro, and Tim Blake Nelson,
yeah.
as these three convicts who break out of this work farm
Yep.
in
I'm a huge
search
fella.
of the treasure. Uh, and it's very loosely based on the Iliad by or the
The Odyssey.
Odyssey by, oh no, the Iliad by Homer. And Holly Hunter plays
That was based on the
plays
Odyssey.
the
With,
Odyssey. I'm sorry,
yeah, with
based on the Odyssey.
the
Yeah,
Cyclops and the Siren
right.
and whatnot.
Yeah, and you get and of course you get John Goodman again,
Yes.
playing the cyclopean character, Big Dan.
See you in the funny
Uh,
boys.
yeah, thank you for the fricassee. Uh, and of course, one of them gets turned into a frog, or they think you got
That's what Tim Blake Nelson thinks.
things like, yeah, they turned you into a horny toad. Uh, just again, just great characters, great story, and I got to give a shout out to great actor. Uh, what's his name? Daniel von Bargen, who plays the sheriff, the one who's chasing after him. Who may or may not be the devil. We're not entirely sure. But he's
Right.
got that voice, Uh, and and also, again, just a bit of trivia. The movie, there's a couple of characters in the movie that are based on real people. Charles Durning plays a character named Pappy O'Daniel, who's
Mhm.
running for governor of Mississippi. But
Yeah.
there was an actual real Pappy O'Daniel who was governor of Texas
Oh,
in the 1930s.
I
Well,
did
in
not know that.
1939, who had a radio station and who had a flour company, um, and who basically made Bob Wills, who's known as the king of Texas swing, made him to a star.
Mhm.
Bob Wills and the Texas Doughboys. So there really was a Pappy O'Daniel.
Okay.
And the other real character is George Nelson. George Babyface Nelson, who really was
Right.
a notorious bank robber during that time,
Right.
played by Michael Bartolucci,
Michael Badalucci. Yeah.
Badalucco, uh, who's in some of the other, in some, at least a couple of other of the Coen Brothers movies. And I thought that was kind of interesting that they actually included like real people. Oh, and also there's a character named Tommy, played by Chris King, who is very, again, loosely based on Robert Johnson, who
Mm.
supposedly sold his soul to the devil at a crossroads. Um, and of course there's the music. They bring back all that good old timey music, the old gospel and spirituals, and just
Yes.
a lot of
That
fun.
soundtrack was the #1 soundtrack for 2 years running.
Yeah.
I
Oh
saw
yeah.
today of George Clooney talking about it, and he said the only one that really made money from that was Tim Blake Nelson, because he actually sang a song on the
Yeah.
he
He's
sang
in he's
he's in
in the big house now.
the jailhouse now.
Jailhouse now. That's it.
Yeah,
In the jailhouse now.
Dad used
Yep.
to sing that song.
Yeah.
So
Um.
yeah, Jimmy Rogers type stuff. And again, like you said, you just a great soundtrack with all
Yeah.
kinds of different music from that era.
Yeah. Very period, of course, period appropriate.
Big
And
Mountain.
you talk about the sirens. You have the sirens, the three girls who seduced the guys. Them sirens, they loved him up and turned him into a toad. Uh, Again, just great
not
lines, great.
seek the treasure.
And Holly Hunter counted to 3 and said my piece. Um, they said
Wonderful.
she was killed by a train.
And again, that's my #3, and we've talked about it. So you can move on to your #4, or my #4, I guess, which is The Big Lebowski, which we've also talked about. So
Yeah.
#5 for me is not a comedy. It's No Country for Old Men. And really, it's Javier Bardem's movie.
Oh yeah,
This is the only time I think he worked with the Coen Brothers that I know
I
of.
think so. Yeah.
And he created one of the most menacing, scary villains in film history in that movie. With that
Yeah.
air machine thing that he carries around to kill people with. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the scene where he tells the guy, or he's betting on the quarter, and the guy does not want to be part of this at all because he knows it can end up really bad. Just wow.
Yeah.
Right up
Yeah.
to the end where, well, I won't spoil it for anybody.
Yeah.
But
Well.
yeah.
All right. So my number 3 and 4 was Fargo and Raising Arizona. So we've covered those.
Yeah.
Number 5, not interestingly enough, was No Country for Old Men as well. Again, we had well, not again, but we have Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones
as great, great performance as
Yeah.
as the sheriff investigating all this weirdness. Josh Brolin,
Yeah.
of course, like I said, Javier Bardem. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, is when he's talking to the shopkeeper, and making him, like bet his life basically. Well, what do I get out of this? Well, you get not to be killed. Yeah, Javier Bardem. Yeah, he made the movie. I mean, it's just such a chilling performance from this guy, and just ruthless and very very focused on his assignment, on his job. And you get a nice little performance from Woody Harrelson as well in the movie, as another the guy who's also after this money that Josh Brolin finds. For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, Josh Brolin plays this guy who stumbles upon this murder scene, basically this drug deal gone bad, and discovers a truckload of money and drugs and stuff, and he takes the money, and then the people whose money it is wants it back, and thereby hangs a tale as people are searching. The money becomes the MacGuffin of the story as Brolin tries to get out with his life as this killer is after him. So anyway,
And Tommy Lee Jones, uh, he is putting all of this together and figuring it out along the way.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you feel he's the only one who can save Brolin and his character.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just again, I was expecting something quirky and nutty like the Coen Brothers usually do, but this was more blood simple. This was more drama and kind of horror.
Yeah.
Humor.
Well, it's of course it's based on a novel
Mm.
of the same name, and the thing about the Coens is when they adapt a book, and they did this also with True Grit, is they really try to make it pretty faithful to the source material. So so the book is about the same. From what I've read, full disclosure, I haven't actually read the book, but from all the reviews that I've said, that yeah, they stayed pretty faithful to the narrative in the book. So
Okay.
So that's interesting.
So we move on to our honorable mentions,
Okay.
and there are quite a few. So I suspect this is where we will differ a little bit.
Probably. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of my honorable mentions, my first honorable mention, in fact, I already mentioned it, was True Grit.
Yeah.
Their version of the novel. Of course, it was first made with John Wayne playing Sheriff Rooster Cogburn, and Kim Darby and Glenn Campbell, back in the 60s. And but their remake is and it's not really a remake of that movie. I mean, it's a new version of the book, but Jeff Bridges really, again, of course, he's a great actor. He's such a good actor anyway. And you have Haley Steinfeld, who has now gone on to a great singing career as well, and Matt Damon. In the Glenn Campbell role. Story is pretty much the same. There's the young lady who hires the sort of slightly drunken, slightly crusty old sheriff or marshal to go after the man who murdered her parents, and which he does. And that's pretty much all you need to know.
Yeah.
It's a manhunt story. But there's, again, Coen's not as quirky as some of their original stuff.
Yes.
But still, they know how to draw some really good performances from
I
their
think, like
cast.
you said before, when they're doing a book, they try to stay close to the book and not turn it into a Coen Brothers movie. they try to be faithful to the book. So I think that's why it didn't make my list, actually, because it's so normal compared to the stuff. I like the weird stuff.
I get that, yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like it's such a good movie. I mean, of course, I'm a sucker for westerns anyway. It's a great movie. And I love the original. I love the John Wayne version, but this one, I I like the way they approach the material and the authenticity they brought to it. You know, they kept the original language. You know, the very formal way that people probably would have spoken in the period.
Yeah, I
So again, that's something that we didn't mention about the Coens is that they are very, very good at the details of,
yes.
you know, even the small details. I mean, they really try. They're great at world building, as it were. So
Though I found though I enjoyed it, I found myself asking myself, why would they remake this?
mm,
And this was the same case with their movie, The Lady Killers. I
yeah,
myself, why did they remake this? The original is so wonderful, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I couldn't shake that, unfortunately. So those two movies didn't make my list. When they
Lady
remake
Killers
this,
didn't. Yeah, Lady Killers didn't make my list for that reason.
yeah,
Because I love the original version.
it
It's
had
so
some
so
fun
good.
Coen Brothers stuff in it, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
it
just
just it just didn't quite hit.
mm,
Uh, you know, I mean, yeah, it had Tom Hanks and it had, you know, again, great cast,
yeah.
but yeah, it just didn't have the same charm and same sort of level of weirdness that you know, which you would think from the Coens that they would up the weirdness
Oh, they
of the
tried.
original, and
They
they
tried.
tried, but yeah, yeah. So
The whole every time they went out to the bridge, you know, with a different body, there was something. You know, there's some quirky little nutty thing going on.
yeah,
Like when they take the woman who's the girlfriend of one of the guys,
yeah.
she has the hairy legs, and they took her off the bridge.
So
And
all
then
right,
the last scene of the bridge is with the cat with the finger in its mouth, and it dumps it off the bridge. Which I
yeah.
thought was, you know, a little too far. But anyway, all right. So my first honorable mention is Burn After Reading.
Okay.
Again, another great cast led by Frances McDormand. Again, anytime you get George Clooney in one of these films, it's going to be fun. There's going to be comedy gold. They got Brad Pitt in this one this time. He was fun. Um, Malkovich, you know, Coen Brothers and Malkovich, for crying out loud. Wow.
Malkovich. Yeah.
Malkovich. So yeah, I mean, there was just too many good films for this one to make my list. So it definitely had to be the top of my honorable mention list because it's a
Okay.
really good Coen Brothers movie. It's really a
Okay.
lot of fun. And again, just the ending is just so weird and crazy. You know, like you say, it's not where you expect it to go, but there it is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, as long as it's fun.
Exactly. Exactly.
What's your next honorable mention?
All right. I think we talked about this one, the Hudsucker Proxy
Mm.
with Tim Robbins. Uh, again, one of the last performances from Paul Newman, but still a great performance. Interesting, kind of and like you said, it had that 1940s style of that patter, that, you know, yeah, what do you know, kind of deal, and just kind of a take on just the foibles of, of the weirdness of capitalism and business in general, and uh, it's just yeah, interesting movie, yeah, and again, one of those where you're still not quite sure where all this is, uh, where it's all leading up to, uh, and just the unexpected. There's always something unexpected, you know. Uh, I want to say, was it Charles Durning again,
Yes.
who winds
Yeah.
up jumping, you know, sort of unexpectedly, just running out and jumping out of a window,
Right. He jumps
and
out
you're
of the
like,
beginning of the
what?
film and comes back
Wait,
later as an
what?
angel,
Exactly. And it's
a
like,
Wall Street tycoon angel,
yeah,
which in itself is a great. Jennifer Jason Leigh was what I'm looking up right now. I wanted to give her props for she was the one that really captured that. Well, I'm going to catch him. I'm going to find out what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that 1940s kind of pattern
Mhm.
in their language, and she's got a couple of scenes with Bruce Campbell. Army of Darkness. The hell was the films? But the Army of Darkness was the third part of the Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Yes.
Yeah, Sam Raimi and Evil Dead.
Mhm.
Campbell is a jewel. He really is. He's a funny guy, and he's Bruce Campbell. Pretty much everything he plays.
Yep. Yeah.
but
The chin.
yeah, but he's wonderful. And again, he nails that cadence with her. And those scenes that he does with her, tick, 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 they go back and forth. It's really, really fun to listen to and watch. Yeah, like you say, Charles Durning. And there's another character actor. Let me see if I can find his name.
Okay.
He's the other guy that tries to jump out the window. And Roy Brocksmith is in it too. It's another good character actor. Damn. Bruce Campbell. John Mahoney is in it too.
Oh. Okay.
And Mahoney is also in Barton Fink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing it's Harry Boogan. He has the crazy eyebrows. And again, he says, I can't take it anymore. And he goes to run out the window and they put plexiglass in.
Yeah.
Hudson
glad
Cross
you're here,
is at the
Sandy.
bottom of my honorable mention list. So it's there.
Okay. All right.
And
Well, another one of mine is a movie called Miller's Crossing,
okay.
which is again another one set in the 40, kind of 30s, 40s, crime drama. Gabriel Byrne plays like a kind of a mafia enforcer type, and again another great cast. What's her name? Mary Harden, I believe. Marianne. Damn it.
I'm looking it up.
Albert Finney. That's what I was trying to think of. Albert Finney is the boss. John Turturro again.
Yeah. John Turturro.
Marsha Gay Harden.
Gay Harden. John Polito.
John Polito. Yeah, he's trying to give me the hi hat. Just
Buscemi.
one of those. Yeah, Buscemi's in it, of course.
Michael Jeter.
But yeah. Very much the almost kind of their version of The Godfather, said, just a good mob movie. Probably didn't get as much play as it could have, but I thought it was interesting.
I have not seen it. I'm going to admit, I had it on my list to watch, and for some reason it got lost in the shuffle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw it a while back, but and I hadn't seen it recently, so that's why memory's a little foggy about it. But I just remember it being a really good movie, and it's one of the Coens, when they make their darker movies, they make them dark. they don't play around. But Gabriel Byrne is wonderful in this movie, as is Albert Finney, who again is just a wonderful actor. And I think this is also one of his kind of toward the end of his career. Well, maybe not, because it was like in the 1990s.
He was in the James Bond film Skyfall.
That's right. That's
at the
right.
end.
Yeah.
So
So
I
yeah,
think
it
his
was
last big
early.
performance.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I was probably thinking of somebody else, but
They wanted Connery to do that role.
yeah. But
He's a
he
Scotsman.
yeah, but he turned it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a little too meta and confusing. Yeah. Which it's funny when I I know we're getting off track, but when I saw Skyfall and that character came up, I half expected it to be Connery. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if this was, a nice little, something for the fans, but I can understand why they didn't. And I can
No.
and plus he pretty much retired from movie making by that
I'm
or
retired.
acting
I'm not going to do that.
after
I'm in French, for crying out loud.
after yeah League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was the nail the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like, no, this is it. I'm
Let me
bloody well retired.
straight. You want me to fight aside James Bond? Well, why would you do that? Why would you offer me that?
Yeah.
Okay, so my next
Anyway.
mention is another George Clooney. It's Intolerable Cruelty, where he plays the lawyer who has the unpenetrable marriage clause, where they cannot win. They cannot. What do they call that? Oh, damn it. Where you marry, but the people can't take your money if you divorce. A divorce clause where they prenuptial agreement. He's created the solid prenup that nobody can get through, penetrate, and then he meets Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is more than a match. And we get Billy Thornton, we get Jeffrey Rush, a lot of cool people. Edward Herman in the film. Richard Jenkins is another one that pops into their films every now and again. He's a great character actor. So yeah, it's a delightful movie. Again, Clooney's performance alone is just he's hysterical. He's really good in it.
Well,
I cite me.
And I gotta admit, I hadn't seen the movie. Probably one of the few Coen Brothers movies I didn't see. It got such terrible reviews when it came out, and I think that kind of influenced me. It's like, oh, no, I don't know if I want to see this.
Understood.
I think I need to go back and I mean, you haven't seen Miller's Crossing. I haven't seen Intolerable Cruelty.
Yeah, you should see it for the go back and forth with Catherine Zeta-Jones and and George Clooney. It's really funny. I mean, she's got him wrapped, and he's a lawyer that deals with that kind of thing. It's really
good. Okay, so, then. All right. Well, yeah, I'll go back and watch that then. All right. So another one on my honorable mentions list is again probably a movie that probably didn't. I don't know. It's called The Man Who Wasn't There, with Billy Bob Thornton and James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini.
Yeah, and a small cameo, or not cameo, but kind of an extended cameo by Scarlett Johansson. And again, Richard Jenkins is in it, and it's and Frances McDormand. It's a kind of interesting movie. It's very much a film noir
myself, and not just because it's black and white, but I just for some reason I couldn't get into it.
It's very much a slow burn, but and maybe I think in part I can understand. Billy Bob Thornton's character is very kind of closed off and unemotional and just kind of like dull, basically, which is why he almost gets away with stuff.
Flame Blade, like my biscuit and mustard. And what he did the later characters. I mean, he's again, he's a chameleon.
Yeah.
Like you said, that character is probably one of the dullest characters he's ever played.
Yeah. That's it fits into the kind of the style, the mood of the movie,
Mhm.
and then I kept thinking, and again, it's that attention to detail. They recreate the 40s, or actually it's like the 50s, really, really well. A lot
The
of
noir.
interesting detail, the cars and the setting, the whole
Mhm.
thing, and it felt very, very film
The
noir
noir
to me.
thing.
Like this could have been made in the 40s, minus a few things that would have gotten past the Hays Code at the time. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think what kind of brings it down is his performance. Well, not his performance, but the way they wrote this character as being this kind of very unassuming, kind of just ordinary man that but I like the story overall, and and that's about it. But I
Okay.
still felt like it needed to be. It's still one of my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I know this is on both of our honorable mention lists, and I think it's time we talked about it. The Legend of Buster Scruggs, which is their
Yes.
Netflix film from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
This is a very, I mean, it starts out just like a Coen Brothers movie. It's the first 10 minutes, which is the Legend of Buster Scruggs, is full out blown Coen Brothers not craziness. It's great. It's fantastic. Um, and then, as you said earlier, they pull out the rug from under you. And it turns out that it's a series of vignettes about the Old West. That Buster
Hmm.
Scruggs is just what got you into the story. It's the first story,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's Tim Blake Nelson again. You never thought that he would get better or he'd be better than he was in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but he's wonderful as Buster Scruggs. He's
Hmm.
cocky and he's just this little cowboy out there kicking ass. It's wonderful. And then again, they pull the rug out from under you, and then they move on to another story. And they give you different stories. You have Tom Waits in a very interesting story where he plays a prospector.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think they were shooting for a soundtrack that they could market and make some serious coinage from. I'm not sure. But again, Tom Waits was in there. Uh, the last story, I didn't quite get it. I think they were alluding to something, but it wasn't very clear. With Tim Daly and the old gentleman and the coach. Anyway,
Hmm.
don't get attached to any one character. That's what I'm going to say right now, because it's in some cases it's downright depressing. Uh, the Old West was harsh. It was rough, and that's what they're trying to show here in these stories. Um, a great little cameo in the beginning during the Buster Scruggs thing from Clancy Brown, uh,
Hmm.
who, I mean, if you want to go up against somebody in the Old West, you don't want to go up against Clancy Brown.
No.
The guy is huge. So, so when little Buster Scruggs takes him on, it's really, really something. Um, and that is worth watching it alone. But again, the movie sometimes gets dramatic and depressing. And sometimes you get, well, there's comedy in there. It's
Yeah.
dark comedy. It's dark comedy. There is a sketch with Liam Neeson that I'm like, no, he's not going to do that. Please tell me he's not going to do that. And he does it. And I said to myself, I wish he would get his comeuppance for that. I wish something bad would happen to him, like, oh, the chicken is not the real chicken or something. And again, I'm trying not to give it away, but yeah. And no, it just ends that way. It's just like, okay, they went there. So it's definitely worth a watch, but plan something happy afterwards, as I say with the
Watch Raising Arizona after
yeah.
this.
Watch Raising Arizona after. There you
Oh
go.
my goodness.
So, what was your take on it?
Yeah, it kind of, it reminded me a little bit of course, it's, I don't know, it's indescribable. You know, these Western vignettes, uh, very much
Yeah,
sort
they
of,
really went Buster Scruggs.
yeah, exactly.
And you're like, well, wait a minute. Can we stay there for a while? I like that. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, going in, that's what I thought. I thought, oh, this is going to be about, some
Again, all the
crazy.
promo for it, it had Tim Blake Nelson as Buster Scruggs. They show you
Right.
basically the whole thing.
Yeah, they don't
Almost
tell
the whole
you this is just one of a series of
And yeah, that's
stories.
10 minutes of the movie. That's the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
And the rest of it is these other stories. Yeah.
Oh, what I was going to say, it reminded me of the Twilight Zone movie that had just
Okay.
different,
Yeah.
different new versions of old Twilight Zone episodes.
Do you know
And other anthologies, like that. But this is the first one that and usually they're horror stories, but this one was like all Western stories, and I think it's kind of alluding to the old West
big horror stories.
Well, yeah. They can be. Now, am I misremembering one? Wasn't there one about this stagecoach full of people who are going to this particular hotel?
Right.
Or they were
That's the
going to
last
stop
one. When I said I wasn't sure where they were going with that.
Yeah. That again, that one felt very kind of Twilight Zone-ish.
Yeah.
Or Night Gallery or one of those
Yeah.
Rod Serling stories.
That's the last story. Yeah.
Yeah, like where's this leading up to? What's going on?
And that was the thing that when
are they all dead? Or they, it's like Lost.
Starring starring da 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 da. And Tim Blake's Nelson is like halfway through the list, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't he the lead? Isn't he supposed to be the main guy? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
and that was my foreshadowing.
They're gonna pull the rug up from under us, and sure enough,
Tim Blake Nelson, and then it goes from Buster to other people.
Yeah, like
So don't go in thinking it's going to be all Buster Scruggs.
Exactly. Okay, I want to mention a couple of other movies.
Mm-hmm.
One is Hail Caesar.
Yeah,
starring. Okay. Again, George Clooney and a host of other really great actors, and it's
Channing Tatum.
And it's a movie about making movies, and again, it's a movie about kind of also about the commie witch hunts of the 1950s,
the blacklisting and
the blacklist. But
but in the hands of the Coen.
But in the hands of the Coens, it just becomes again like Barton Fink. It's another kind of poke at Hollywood,
Yes,
just the insanity of
we get a Busby Berkeley communist dance number.
Yes. Exactly.
The best scene for me though is the Would That It Were scene where the cowboy star is loaned to another studio for a movie, and the British director is trying to tell him how to speak like a upper high society person. Would that it were.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on. What did it twerk? And it's like this scene in the Pink Panther where I want the hamburger. It just goes on and on and on and on. It just gets worse.
Yeah.
But then they show you that what's funny is like 30 minutes later, they show you the clip in the movie and he's perfect.
He nails it. Yeah.
But you can see the frustration in Ray Fiennes' face when he can't get him to say it right. And he's done like 50 takes. We did it to her. That is worth the price of admission right there. That's
Yep.
hysterical.
Yep. And again, it's one of those kind of like the Buster Scruggs ones. You know, you think, oh, George Clooney, you know, he's the star. He's going to be. I mean, he's in a lot of it, but he's not really the main character. Although he kind of, I guess, kind of initiates the plot. But there's so much going on, and like I said, it's just a poke at Hollywood and filmmaking, especially the old Hollywood system and the whole, you know, Red Scare period, the Blacklist period as well. And so that was interesting. And there's another movie that I you know, came up on the list, and I said, oh, what's this about? Called A Serious Man, that is very interesting. And again, it's about it's basically about Jews in the Midwest. And about this one guy, this man who is a professor, a university professor,
Yeah.
and how he is so sort of disconnected from his own life, and so he like barely knows what's going on half the time. You know, with his kids, with his wife, with his coworkers. You know, and it's interesting. It is about the confusion of life, about and
Yeah.
you know, when I said that sometimes movies just end, this one just ends.
Yeah.
There's at the end. There's a well, I'm not going to give it away in case anybody wants to see this movie, but it's an interesting movie, and again, it's one of those slow burn, but it has some funny moments, and you really learn a lot about Jewish life in the 1950s or 1960s rather,
Yeah.
in the Midwest, uh, and it's a fun movie. It's just well, I don't know if it's if I could call it a fun movie. It's an interesting movie. It's what did you think?
There's a
Did you think
puppy
you should watch the movie?
cameo.
It's like I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Like I said, I don't think it's probably not one of their more well-known films, probably for that reason. But it was an
I
interesting
skimmed
movie.
through it, and it didn't really grab me.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah, I
said,
watched it the other
it's
night, and I
super
was
like
like, wow, okay. I might throw it into honorable mention. I don't know. I may watch it again, but and there's a few other movies that we haven't mentioned, but
Mm.
oh well.
Yeah.
We're like 2 minutes over, so
Again, like Renee said, they only did like 18 films so far.
yeah, they've only
So
yeah, it feels like they've done more, you know, and
it
they're actually
feels like there's
alone.
It seems like I downloaded like 18.
Yeah.
So almost everything.
Now they do movies apart as well.
Right.
One of them, I think it's Joel, has recently made a movie called I think it's called Drive Away Dolls, which looks kind of crazy, a caper movie. Ethan did a movie. Actually, he did The Tragedy of Macbeth, the one
Okay.
that
Ethan is usually the
we just
writer
talked
of
about him.
he writes the scripts and Joel directs them,
Right? Yeah,
usually.
yeah. But they do movies apart.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington is in the Tragedy of Macbeth.
Okay.
And it was directed by one of the Coens, which I was as I was doing some research. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. And he also did a documentary about Jerry Lee Lewis, which
I saw that, or I saw, that existed.
yeah.
So that might be something I want to watch later.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Next time.
All right. So next time, the show will be at a different time, new time. We're moving to 10 Eastern, 9 Central time. Still on Mondays.
Yep.
We are going to have a special guest next time. One of our dear friends who has her own channel, Panorea will be our special guest, and we're going to be talking about a very interesting young actor. Well, I would say young actor, but contemporary actor, Joaquin Phoenix, will be the subject of our show next
That's
time.
what she wanted to talk about, so we're going to talk about it.
That's right. That's right. So since we so rarely have a special guest, we thought we'll let her choose our topic, and she decided that she wanted to talk about Joaquin Phoenix. So I said, yeah, he's done some very interesting movies as well, and he's a very interesting character.
Like you said, the F word. Do you want to talk about effing Phoenix?
You talk about this effing guy. This guy.
Renee, tell me I'm right.
That's what I heard for like a split second. I did hear that for a split second, and I was like, okay.
Let's talk about effing Phoenix.
I'm excited because I would have
Phoenix.
never guessed that, and I'm so glad. Like, I want to hear from her what she finds fascinating about him. You know, he gets overshadowed so much by his deceased brother. So I'm
I
interested.
remember him as a kid actor. You know, he was in the what was
Yeah.
the Steve Martin film with the family? I want to say Cheap by the Dozen, but but he's the other son. The one that's
that's
watching porn.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. He started off as a kid actor. Did a lot of TV, and now he's a major star.
Now he's doing Napoleon.
This effing guy.
He's new in Napoleon as effing Phoenix.
Yeah. So
Doing the Joker, that Evan Phoenix
yeah. You know, there you go.
with Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. That's going to be interesting.
It's a musical.
It's you know, is she going to live up to Margot Robbie? Well, we'll have to see. Different interpretation of the character.
We're gonna have to do Margot Robbie soon.
Oh, I'd love to do Margot Robbie. Yeah, we'll discuss her.
Barbie. Man, she's just shot off like a rocket.
Oh yeah, she's been in some interesting films as well. So
very funny on Saturday Night Live too.
Yeah,
Not afraid to poke fun at herself.
Yeah. And she's another. I think isn't she Australian?
Yes,
Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
So
she's an Aussie.
Another freaking Australian taking jobs from Americans.
Oh, geez. He went.
You know, first we had Nicole Kidman, and then now we got freaking Margot Robbie stealing jobs from decent American actresses.
These movies are real to us.
Yes. All righty. Well, Miss Renee.
What an adorable co-host.
I know. That's who I'm looking at the whole time.
So smug though.
You know, it's funny. When I ever try to take a picture of her, she runs. She thinks it's almost like she would think I was stealing her soul or something. Like, nope. Like she's trying to get away from the paparazzi. Like the cat, on the other hand, it's like, yes, take my picture, please. So anyway, but she's so photogenic. You're so photogenic. You're so pretty. Look at you.
I'm not looking at you.
Not looking at you.
I am not looking at you. I'm looking at the camera, but I'm not looking at you.
What's that other dog doing on your shoulder? All right.
Right.
So next week.
Thank you.
10/9 Central. Joaquin Phoenix. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.